Do nice guys always finish last? Yeah, I'd say they do. But when it comes to virtuous men, that's a whole different story. Being a virtuous man doesn't have just one type. You can't put it into a little box. Because that happens so often in our culture where we just want to put people into boxes. We don't allow ourselves to live freely. So if you're a shy man, you can still be virtuous. Because being a shy man doesn't mean that you're a pushover. It just means you take things a little slower. You take things with ease. And that's awesome. That's amazing. Being a virtuous man doesn't mean that you can't be type A. If you like having things in order, that's awesome. That's great as well. Being a virtuous man doesn't mean you can't be artistic. It doesn't mean that it only is the pipe smoking, verso alto type of man. Like, those men are great. But we have to realize that virtuous men come in all shapes and sizes as well. See, the Latin root of the word virtue actually is vir, which means manliness or valor, which is an amazing thing if we think about it. Living a life of virtue does not mean that we're promised any type of specific outcome. It doesn't mean that we'll get the girl, that we're going to be instantaneously sanctified, or any of those other things. It doesn't even mean recognition. Oftentimes being virtuous means that we're going to go unnoticed, and that's okay, because it does mean being fully alive. There's something so attractive about somebody who's fully alive, who's fully themselves, when we're no longer stifled by fear or by anxiety. And being a virtuous man is actually really attractive. People are drawn to what is good. And if you're being virtuous, that means you're being fully good and fully yourself. That's the way that all the women in our lives want to be loved. They want to be loved in a self-sacrificial type of way. No man was created to be a nice guy. We were all created to be virtuous men. So, do nice guys finish last? Probably.
The nice guy that's often brought up by women is socially preferable and psychologically healthier. However, the dating scene or mating market is quite chaotic, and despite what women say, niceness, especially among men, is not cutting it.
We have to come to realize the difference between what a nice guy is and what a virtuous man is. Being virtuous isn't passive. A nice guy will grasp at a relationship, while a virtuous man will do whatever he can to pursue one. A nice guy will seek to be validated in what he does, whereas a virtuous man will seek to be present in whatever ways that he's wanting to love the other. A nice guy feels entitled to his relationship, where a virtuous man seeks his relationship as a way to provide for the other. A nice guy will allow fear to stifle him, whereas a virtuous man will have the courage to look fear in the face and overcome it for the other. A nice guy will eventually give up, whereas a virtuous man will persevere with fortitude. So just to recap, pursue, be present, provide, protect, and persevere.
High levels of agreeableness is not exactly a virtue in the sexual battlefield.
You ask a disagreeable person what he wants, say, or she wants, they'll tell you right away. They know. It's like, this is what I want, and this is how I'm going to get it. But agreeable people, especially if they're really agreeable, are so agreeable that they often don't even know what they want, because they're so accustomed to living for other people and to finding out what other people want and to trying to make them comfortable and so forth, that it's harder for them to find a sense of their own desires as they move through life. And that's not, look, there's situations where that's advantageous, but it's certainly not advantageous if you're going to try to forge yourself a career. That just doesn't work at all.
While nice guys respect women, are more likely to respect no means no by taking no for an answer and eventually giving up, the macho guys are less likely to take no for an answer, eventually winning women through persistence. Really question the whole thing of no meaning no, women just constantly contradicting themselves. Considering how much people are investing in their physical appearances in modern societies, how important is attractiveness in modern relationships? Some sources report the importance of physical attractiveness as measured in terms of height, weight, body build, body language, attire or grooming, and dominance cues in short-term sexual relationships.